if she was praying. That's not a bad idea. Clunk, clunk, brang! Another attendant hurried through the aisle, passing out pillows. She tried to appear calm, but failed miserably. The plane banked to the right. Becka laid her face down on the pillow in her lap and gave her seatbelt another tug. The intercom buzzed once more with the pilot's voice. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to land on the foam. Please hold on." "Clunk, clunk, brang!" "Don't be alarmed," he said. "That's just the landing gear. I'll keep trying it as we come in." Becka remained hunched over with her face on the pillow. She could feel the plane dropping, and still the landing gear was not coming down. They were going to land with no wheels. Clunk, clunk, brang! She glanced at Scott, who stared back at her from his pillow. He tried to force an encouraging grin, but there was no missing the look of concern on his face. She turned to look at Mom. Her eyes were still closed. Becka hoped that she continued to pray. Clunk, clunk, brang! Becca's thoughts shot to Ryan Reardon, her boyfriend back home. If she died, how would he handle the news? And what about her friends, Julie, Chrissy, and Philip? How would they handle it? She also thought of Dad, of perhaps seeing him soon. Too soon. It was this final thought that jolted her back to the present and caused her to pray. It wasn't that she didn't want to see Dad again, she just had a few more things to do first. Clunk, clunk, brang! Clunk, clunk, da-ree! Something was different. The plane veered sharply upward. Becka couldn't resist the temptation to sit up and glance out the window. The pilot spoke once more. "Ladies and gentlemen, the landing gear has engaged. We are out of danger. I repeat, we are out of danger. We will land on a different runway in just a few moments." "Thank you, Lord," Mom whispered. She sounded relieved as she sat up and reached over and hugged both of her children. "Thank you." Becka breathed a sigh of relief as she joined the applause of the other passengers. They were safe, at least for now. But all the same, she couldn't help wondering if this was some sort of omen, a warning of the dangers that were about to begin. The 3 o'clock bell at Sorrento High rang. Throngs of kids poured out of the old, weathered building. One 15-year-old girl slowed her pace as she headed for the bus. No one talked to her. Her clothes were more ragged than most. They were too shabby to be fashionable and too conservative to be alternative. Sara Thomas had never fit in. She had never felt like she belonged, no matter where she was. As she approached the school bus and stepped inside, she steeled herself, waiting for the taunts. None came, just the usual after-school chatter. Carefully, she took her seat, stealing a glance to the rear of the bus. Ronnie Fitzgerald and John Newey were engrossed in a tattoo magazine. Maybe they'd forget about her today. With a swoosh and a thud, the door closed. The bus jerked forward. Maybe today would be different. Then again, maybe not. They had traveled less than a mile when it began. "Hey, Rags, you shopping at Goodwill or the Salvation Army these days?" Sara recognized Ronnie's shrill, nasal voice. "Hey, I'm talking to you." She didn't turn around. "I heard Goodwill's got a special on those cruddy-stained sweaters you like so much," John Newey said snidely. Before she could catch herself, Sara glanced down at the brown chocolate stain on her yellow sweater, and the boys roared. "Is that from a candy bar, or did your dog do a number on it?" Ronnie shouted. Most of the others on the bus smirked and snickered. A few laughed out loud. Sara stared out the window as the taunts continued. As always, she tried to block out the voices, and as always, she failed. But not for long. Soon, she thought. Soon they'll pay. They'll both pay. She reached into her purse and clutched the tiny cloth and straw doll. Already she was thinking about her revenge. And already she was starting to smile. Aunt Myrna's farmhouse was simple but clean. The furniture inside was made mostly of dark wood. The chairs looked like they'd been there 100 years and could easily last another 100. After Becka dropped her bags off in the small attic room that she would be using, she headed down to the kitchen, grabbed an apple out of the fruit basket, and strolled out to the front porch. As the screen door slammed, she vaguely heard Aunt Myrna telling Mom something about a farmhand named John Garrett who was supposed to drop by. It was hot and humid.